Drug checking is important because there's really no other way to know what drugs you're taking. You can ask people who have taken that same drug how they felt, but that's not a definitive answer. And there's just so much misinformation going around that having actual technologically sound solutions for definitive answers gives you an absolutely indispensable piece of information about how that drug interaction is going to go.
Well, there's a few things about Get Your Drugs Tested that are unique. The fact that it's not run by a government agency and by us as an individuals or as our nonprofit society through our dispensary, that's certainly unique. And I think something special. Also the fact that we accept by mail as well. No, very few other programs in the world do that. No one in North America is doing that, and certainly not for free.
On June the 5th, 2019, our Medicinal Cannabis Dispensary needed to close due to a court order, and the decision was made that the new home for the FTI, our spectrometer, had just been found.
The way this machine works, it's an infrared spectrometer, and it shines a laser down at a very tiny little sample of the substance, and then it analyzes the light spectrum that comes out of it. So it works well for simple molecule drugs that are just one or two chemicals or a few chemicals together, but for an organic plant matter, there's thousands of things in there. It can't really break it down like that in that kind of way. So our testing is mainly for chemical drugs, street drugs, LSD, cocaine, heroin, MDMA, Viagra, other Xanax, so prescription drugs we can test. They're often sold on the street, or fake versions are sold on the street, so we can test those kind of things as well. And there is a limit. We have a limit of around 3 or 4%. If something is only in it lower than that, we can't always pick it up. And so for things like fentanyl, which can have an effect even at less than 1% sometimes, we also use test strips as well to back up the machine. So we use the chemical analysis too to make sure that we're giving people as accurate information as possible.
Well, sometimes we have 30 clients in a day coming in to test their drugs, and we also get, like with the mail order, tons of samples all the time. So the PO box is filling up and our technicians are very busy.
Mail-in drug checking is important because not everyone has access to walk-in services. You might be in a small community, you might be in a conservative community, your police chief or mayor doesn't think that these kinds of services are valuable, and if you can just send it to us, no stigma, no questions asked, just through the mail, you can get your results in basically as long as the mail takes.
People will put about a matchstick amount of the drug that they'd like to test into a plastic bag or a container, and then wrap that safely, and then put that into an envelope with or a bubble wrap, and address it to Dana Larson at our PO box. And so our technicians check that every day and come back with the mail order samples. Then they test them and get back to the user anonymously.
The vast majority of people that come through our door, I would say, are extremely worried, particularly worried about fentanyl. It's kind of widely held kind of folk wisdom that fentanyl could be anywhere at any time and you never know. And I think this is a bit of an exaggeration, but it is still very important to be vigilant.
It's much broader than just fentanyl. It really just goes to things being cut with other drugs, things being impure or being sold as something that they're not. We found a lot of really high quality products out there. We've also found some really dangerous stuff as well.
We're very lucky that here it is a place where anyone can drop in and test their drugs before they consume them, but in many places where this kind of thing is more frowned upon, it's what's referred to as back of house testing. This would be front of house testing, that would be back of house testing, where it's only drugs that are seized by security or police. So people don't have as much of the option, and I think that this is our system is way better, where it's people bring it to us, we give them a little bit more information. It's also an interface location where even if they're not necessarily getting their drugs tested, we can answer answer questions about the drugs that they are going to be taking, dosage, timelines, things like that. That it's not all about the drug checking, but it really is, I think, kind of the first step in just giving people more information to have the experience they want to have.
BC Centre for Disease Control, knowing that people were coming and getting their drugs tested, would need fresh supplies as a matter of harm reduction. So they stepped forward and said that they would supply our cupboards with needles, and alcohol swabs, all the items that are needed for safer drug consumption.
We've got over 2,600 results on our website, and you can search not only by substance, but you can also search by city as well. So if you're in Calgary, for instance, you've got an MDMA capsule, an ecstasy tablet, you're not sure about it, it's got a certain design or pattern on it, you can go to our website and maybe someone else has had it tested already. It helps people make informed decisions about what they're taking.
We never ask any personal details about who the person is or why they're using the substance. We don't need a name to input any information into our system. It's strictly somebody coming with a substance and us providing the service.
The results are fascinating, and I'm really glad by putting it all online, it means any researcher and any analyst from anywhere in the world can look at these results and go through the database and glean information and understanding of what the trends are and what's been happening and what's maybe going to be happening. And so I think it's a really useful resource and really unparalleled anywhere in the world.
What may on the surface seem like a troubled community is actually very resiliently grappling with a very profound challenge.
We have just seen a need and we've started to address it.
I think it's very important what we're doing, and I've been really gratified by how it's been going so far. The BC government does also run their own small drug analysis program as well, but it's really isolated just to the supervised injection sites. It's only there a couple of days a week for a few hours at a time, so it's nothing like the comprehensive 7 days a week, 8 hours a day drop-in program that we offer, what we're doing and no one else is doing in Canada.
Nobody likes to be poisoned, and this is what we're preventing.